Hey, hello, and welcome to the show. It's me, JP. It's time for JP's product pick of the week. Thanks so much for stopping by. Are you like me? Did you look at a very bright LED just moments before broadcasting? That was an accident. Hey, thanks for coming to the show. We've got people over in our chats hanging out. Thanks for stopping by over in our YouTube chat. Dave Odessa and Beata Graf Avdalhagen, Tyrone Mix. Hello. Thanks for jumping in over there on the YouTube chat. Our other chat, if you're wondering where all the chatting is going on and you're somewhere else like Facebook where there doesn't seem to be one, that's because we've got this right here. This is our Discord server. Head on over to adafruit.it/discord and you can jump into the live broadcast chat channel. You can see it lit up right there. Hello to Paul Cutler and C. Grover and John Nodge. Thanks for popping by. Yeah, I missed you too on CircuitPython Day, John Nudge. Hope it was a good time for everyone. I was traveling, so couldn't make it, but hoping to catch up on some of the live streams that are now up on YouTube. Hey, Philip Urschler jumped on in. Hello from Utah over on our YouTube chat. Thanks for popping on by. So here on the Product Pick Show, I've got a new product pick for you. Really cool one, really useful one for me. I hope you find it useful too. It's also inexpensive and even more so right now because we have 50% off during the show. So head to this URL, head to that QR code. You will find this show is being live streamed from inside the product page, and you can keep an eye on the stock. We had 100 or more stashed before the show. You can get a maximum of 10 per customer, and they are on 50% off deep discount just during the show. So you don't need a coupon code, just throw it in your cart, get it before it's gone. The price will go back up after the show, so be aware of that. And as is custom here, before I tell you about it, I like to jump back to Lady Ada talking about this on the Ask an Engineer new section from not too long ago. So take it away, Lady Ada.
Okay, our product of the week is the TPS 65131. This is a split boost power supply, which I needed for some floppy disk hacking because I needed a negative 12 volt power supply. And I was like, it's actually really hard to get negative voltages when you need to do project hacking, unless you want to do like weird floating supplies and you whatever connects the positive to the ground. What this does is you can give it the VIN, which is 3 to 5 volts, and then you'll get two output voltages, one on the left, which is positive, one on the right, which is negative. And then there's two trimmer pots in the top corners there that you can adjust the voltage from between 6 volts approximately to 15 volts and negative 6 volts to approximately negative 15 volts. I'll say the trimmers are like not, they're like 10%. So that 6 volts might be like 5.5 or like 6.25, when you twist it all the way to the left. And the 15 might be like 15.5 or 14.5 all the way on the right. But basically you can adjust the voltage. It's meant for like about 12, but you can tweak it up and down if you need plus or minus 10, plus or minus 13. You'll get about 100 milliamps out from each rail. So good for stuff like synthesizers, negative bias generators for OLEDs and TFTs, other like scientific sensors, old TTL electronics. Not good for motors. Like you would not drive a motor from this. Or sometimes you want from a battery, you want 24 volts and then you want also plus 12 or something, this could kind of get you something there. Sorry, 150 volts from each rail. You can actually get a little bit more, but I kind of measured it with like about 4.5 volts in, 12 and negative 12 out, and I got about 150. It will overheat. So maybe if you cool it off, you can get a little bit more. Again, not for motor control, but good for, especially if you have old electronics that were expecting a transformer-based power supply and the transformer broke because it's got old and it started cracking or vibrating, or you just want to run it off batteries, you could do it with a split boost supply.
Yeah, that's right. This is the product pick of the week this week. It is the TPS 65131 split boost power supply. It can give you negative 6 to 15 volts on one side and positive 6 to 15 volts on the other side, DC. And this is super useful for synthesizers, possibly other stuff, but that's what I care about, making really small, portable, battery-powered, USB battery-powered Eurorack cases. That's where it's at for me. Of course, you may find other uses for it. Let me know over in the chats what you're going to use yours for. But let's take a closer look at this. I'm going to head over to the product page. So there you can see it's a $3.48 during the show right now, and you can pick up a couple of them. In fact, I realized after I put together a small demo case for you, you could pop one of these on per Eurorack module if you wanted to, and then run them all from one nice beefy 5-volt USB supply, depending on how you wire things up, and you'll be able to power a moderately large case on the go, which is kind of neat. If you scroll on down here, you'll see we've got a link to the primary guide as well as a USB to Eurorack power supply guide that Liz put together. Super cool. So here you can see main guide. There is the supply, and if we take a look at the pinouts here, you'll see what it's got going on. Across the bottom row there you see, so we comes with some header pins. You can solder those on, and you get your, from the center, if we take a look close to the center there's the V in. That's your input voltage. That can be anywhere from 3.3 to 5 volts. I'm using USB direct, what's coming off of a USB battery pack there. And you've got a ground. All those grounds are common, but you've got a convenient ground there to say, okay, that's my power coming in. Then we're going to split those out. So on the left side there, you'll see you've got a positive voltage and ground. On the right side, you have the negative voltage and ground. You also have an enable pin, which you can use to power the thing on and off. And then if you look up at the top, above each of those output rails, you've got a very small little trimmer pot, which you can use to dial in the voltage that you want. Set it and forget it. So in my case, I set the one on the left to 12 volts, 12.1, 12.2. And then on the right side, I set that to negative 12.1, 12.2 volts. That gives me exactly what the Eurorack synthesizer specification wants. But you can dial those to whatever you need. Generally speaking, you're going to end up with symmetry there, but maybe there are uses where you don't. But yeah, like I say, once you set that, you can forget it. Give it power, give it the 5 volts coming in off of USB if that's how you're operating, and then you're going to get out that dialed in voltage, positive and negative on the dual outputs there. So this little pinout page talks about that. There's a use page here, which Liz put together to show you how to hook up a multimeter, check the output, and dial that in. So there's actually a really nice GIF demo right there, taking a screwdriver, a little small Phillips, like a size 1 Phillips will work, and dialing that in from one end to the other, and then move over to the negative voltage side. And then if you take a look at the downloads page here, we've got a data sheet there from Texas Instruments that tells you everything you need to know about the chip. And then this other guide here I mentioned, this is, Liz showed a sort of a Eurorack battery or USB to Eurorack, and then another conversion to use that with some of the semi-Eurorack but not quite teenage engineering modules. But it'll work just fine. That little pin out there is your guide. You've got negative 12 and positive 12 and some ground rails in the middle. And I'll show you how I set up mine here. So let's take a look at, oh, actually before I do that, let me show you these photos. Actually, that's also a nice close-up there. You can see of the specs on the back there, tell you everything you need to know. And there's the pinout and trimmer pots. So if we take a look at my down shooter here, go to this view here, you can see I put together a little plastic case, fake Pelican case, low cost, blow molded plastic case that I had, and then I sunk into the foam here my favorite little cigar box that I put in a rail at Eurorack height. And what I've got going on here are a little speaker and amplifier. This is actually a really cool little Eurorack module that C. Grover in our chat made, which is useful for seeing if you're getting 5 volt on this top LED, positive 12 volt and negative 12 volt out of your Eurorack supply. So I put that in there so I could see when it's working. And then I have a little sort of sequencer utility module and a wavetable synth module here. So I'm going to turn up this sound. You won't hear it great because I'm not I'm not pumping that through my sound system. It's just going to pick up over my lav mic. Okay, so you can see it's working. And the way this Eurorack specification runs, we've got a IDC 16-pin cable here, 2 rows of 8. On the left is my negative voltage. The next 3 pins are ground. Next pin is positive 12. And then there's also a positive 5 here, which not a lot of modules use these days, but I included it since I can tap that right off of the input voltage coming from USB. I'm going to disconnect the USB because that was actually plugged into a computer USB, and I'll show you instead. Here's a little battery. In fact, I'm going to plug this in directly. So this is a nice little USB-C phone battery here. It has a couple of outputs, including this little flip-up USB-C, and we can make sure it's on by pressing this little button here. When it's not drawing any current, it'll turn itself off quickly. But if I plug this in, there you can see I've got a little USB-C breakout, and then that is running ground, and the input volt, or the V-bus, so the 5 volt, are what's powering the split boost supply. And then I'm running out the negative 12, positive 12, and the 5. And then this little yellow wire here is the enable. So you'll see actually I'm passing through the 5. There's no helping that. But when I turn this on, watch the lights down here. Okay, so the sequencer is not running yet, and you can hear it kind of coming up to full voltage. Could turn that on now, run the sequence. I'll pause that, turn that down. But you can see now I'm running off of a little USB power supply out to a few little IDC cables to power a few of these USB things. I'm really pushing it by driving the amp off of here. I really shouldn't be. That's got to be drawing more current than I should. But these modules don't take too much, 40 to 70 milliamps per plus and minus 12 volts. So we can run those pretty easily, just a couple modules here from this. A lot of modules, this happens to be a digital module, a lot of modules are analog modules, which is really what necessitates having this below 12 and above 12 across a ground line to do this kind of signal, audio signals stuff. So really, there's no getting around this. Most things in life that are electronic and you want to take out on the go, you can figure out a way to use a USB supply. It's a little tricky with something that wants this split power, this negative 12, this positive 12, and that's why this TPS 65-131 is so dang handy for this kind of application here. Let's see, let me check and see if we have any questions over on the chat. No, yeah, so like I said, these little guys here, they're small, they're inexpensive. You could probably come up with a way where one USB plug is running to a few of these in a little case. I'm exposing a lot here. A lot of this stuff will usually be tucked away. All this IDC ribbon wire would be underneath things, but I just wanted to show it. But you could tuck all that away and maybe run 1 or 2 modules per TPS 65-131 split supply and have a neat little USB powered, battery powered case on the go. So you can see, turn that off, turn that on. We're getting our full 12 positive, 12 negative right off of there. Let's go to the chat here and see if there's any other questions. Janisku7 says, very cool setup for split boost. Yeah, it's something that I've tried with a benchtop power supply. There are ways to kind of flip wiring around and get a common ground with a negative and a positive over it, but it's a bit of a pain in the neck. It's not a full-time solution, and this is a really nice mobile solution, so that's why I'm really excited about this. As Lydia said, some hard drives, if you're playing around with little floppy drives, I should say, will want this, and then you may come up with other equipment out there that wants that split supply. Okay, I think that covers everything. So why don't we wrap this up? That right there is the product pick of the week this week. Oh wait, you know what? Before I do that, I think This may not end up in the little clip video, but yeah, I think let's we got some time. Let me do one other thing. I'm gonna move all of this out of here. Here's the light I blinded myself with earlier. I'm gonna turn that off. Let's take this, and as you can see, the whole thing really is mobile. I can take that, set that over here. And let me see, can I show you one in action? Yeah, I'm going to take that supply out of the case. So let's take just that. So there's my little breadboard that I put together, and the battery thinks that there's not enough draw to stay on there, so I have to remind that every once in a while. Straighten this camera out. And I just wanted to show you on a multimeter, now that I'm not hooked up to where I really want to make sure I'm getting the 12 and negative 12. If I take the multimeter here, let's adjust focus. That should work pretty well. Can I turn this light on? Yeah. So I took some cabling from the test probes for this meter and kind of grafted them into a little IDC cable. This is one that's recognizing that a lot of the time you're not using the 5-volt CV and gate part of the specification. So a lot of modules actually only use these pins on one end. So if I plug this in to the cable here, and yeah, that's on. So if we look at the left side positive here, that runs over to one side of the cable. So I'm hooked up to ground on this blue pin and positive 12 or positive rail on this red pin. And if I grab a small screwdriver, let's see if this is a good size for this. I might need smaller. I should be able to, I think this one's too big. Let me grab a smaller, either flathead or this one might work. So here's how we adjust. So you can see that was sitting at around 12.2 like I had said. So if I take this, we can drop that output way down, about 6 volts. Bring that one up to about 15 and a half. And then if I just switch which probe, which wire the probe's connected to, this is the other side of the supply. So you can see they are two separate outputs, dual output, and now I can go and adjust the negative to whatever. So they're independent there, but as far as most applications I can think of, I would end up with a equal voltage across the ground plane. So there you go, negative 16, negative 6. And if I'm dialing that in, you can get pretty precise, just a little, get that a little over 12. You can see the pressure of the screwdriver messes with it too. So I'll switch that back, other side. Bring that back up to 12, just so I don't forget it and try to run my Eurorec with it later. That'll work. That's within tolerance there. So that's how you adjust the supply, and you can see here I'm just feeding it from any USB-C battery with this nice little breakout here. Okay. Let me know before we wrap up if there are any other questions there. John Nodge says looks useful for testing and playing with analog I/O sensor data. Oh yeah, that's an interesting use case as well. All right, let's go and close that down. All right, where'd it go? Hey, that right there is the product pick of the week this week. It is the TPS 65131 split boost power supply, negative 6 to 15, positive 6 to 15 volts. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park. This has been JP's product pick of the week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.